All right. I think we're live. Karthik, great to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Good. This was a great week for me.
Yeah, congratulations on your Netflix and MasterCard. Amazing. Good trades. Hope we can pick something like that for this week, my friend.
I know it's so interesting. I kind of with those two trades, I got to reflect on the trading discipline. I kind of went back to the basics around what Mark Douglas teaches. It's always nice to remember the foundational stuff around state of mind. MasterCard probably was an example of great setup. And Netflix was a great setup, trading setup as well.
Yeah, no, awesome. I had smaller trades. I took some of your trades, but smaller size. Wish I could have taken a bigger size like what you did.
Yeah, I made a mistake on MasterCard, but Netflix I didn't repeat the same mistake. My mistake on MasterCard was I took profits early, and then
Yeah.
I FOMO'd in back into the position with adding it back in at the wrong time, as opposed to re-looking at it with the data. So I gave back some of the profits. So it would have been a lot larger, but never mind. I recognized my mistake. I didn't do the same on Netflix. That's what I was kind of thinking about. The mindset around, state of mind around trading and how difficult it could get if you don't pay attention to your emotions and get them into it, right? So,
Yeah, I like that book you referred as well. The Mark Douglas is what Trading in the Zone, right? Is that the name of the book?
yeah, Trading Zone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually just found the sections that are relevant. I documented the whole trading system and what worked on Netflix and MasterCard. We'll share that tonight. I'm going to share the checklist. I'm planning to build a deep dive, kind of like a training module thing, so we can deep dive on this on a separate day. But we'll do that. We'll do. So first of all, welcome everybody. Whoever's watching this later on or now. Another weekly squeeze with E.O.Breakers and Karthik, your hosts. We're going to look at the high probability setups and what we're planning to do. None of what we share is a trading advice or financial recommendation. These are the things we are doing. It's educational purposes. We're just having fun. Hopefully everybody is having fun. And we'll share our learnings. And
yeah, I'm glad we're doing this for the group. I think it's a great, personally for me as well, I think it's a good, what do you call, like a platform for, for people to get in and then share our kind of views in terms of the market. Obviously, everybody knows this is a challenging kind of market to be trading alone. So I think as a group, I think we should probably do great in terms of kind of managing how to trade and setups and make money together, right?
Yeah, I love that idea. We need to win together. Silver says hi, guys. Silver, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And,
hi, Silver.
So
let's do you want to kind of
let's do this because Bitcoin is breaking out, and it's almost like every session we do this. Bitcoin does something Sunday night. So we'll start with quick look at the Bitcoin, and then I want to share a little bit about the Netflix trade. I use that as an example, but then I want to come to you, Karthik, for the kind of market what your playbook says for this week.
Yeah,
and then
we'll do that.
The money calendar. And then if there are some setups that are similar to Netflix and MasterCard we took last week. So
sounds like a good plan.
Let me see. Can you guys? You can see my. Oh, I don't think I put the screen on. Hold on.
Yeah, I can see yours.
You can see my screen. Okay.
Yeah, right. I can.
So, guys, I look at the so when I look at Bitcoin, a lot of bullish news this week. One of them was this Mexican billionaire. I don't know if you guys saw this. He was talking about, he's making 10% of his portfolio, basically Bitcoin. That's really bullish. Like somebody respected like that, one of the richest guys in the world. He's basically talking about, in his view, like the fiat money is just all that printing. He thinks basically you gotta have some portion of your portfolio in Bitcoin. I thought that was pretty bullish this week. The other news is I looked at Glassnode and I looked at how much Tether USD is coming into exchanges. There was about like a big jump this week, close to $4 billion. Last time that happened, Bitcoin went from 30K to 60K. Now it doesn't mean it'll happen the same way this time, but I do feel like we may chop around another week or two, but after that, we may get some bullish, really strong bullish moves. I still don't like the weekly chart. I think we could, as you can see here, the pullback, the sell signal we got up here. The good thing is market cipher is turning. I want to, when we see, it may not happen this week, but maybe towards the end of this week or next week, if we see a green dot here and the VWAP is turning, that could be an indication of, start scaling back into Bitcoin. That will make me happy because I think this momentum wave turning here, money flow kind of indicating a settling down. The VWAP kind of, I want to see on a weekly scale VWAP to cross the zero line here. That would be the signal for us. So I will wait until then. But daily, we had a bounce today. Really, over the weekend we had the shenanigans. We went down and then we came back up. So daily, we're kind of coming to a resistance here. So we'll see what happens tonight. We may go hit the 35K level and then come back down again, and then continue to chop a week or two. So that's my assessment. But this, right now we're at 34,600. I had a buy signal around here. Let me see 30-minute chart. Yeah, this market cipher, trigger waves and the VWAP, the combination, I'm going to show you guys in combination with squeezes have been working great in my trading system. Look at this. Like on the 30-minute chart, you could have traded this. So you're in a squeeze and the momentum wave turning, and you got the squeeze fired right here. Karthik, VWAP is positive, money flow is green, and then you have a green dot. So you would enter somewhere around here once this candle kicked, right? And then you could have, $1,000 move. This is obviously 30-minute chart. It's a good example of kind of what we did with Netflix and MasterCard. You can do it in a smaller time frame as well. So I've been using squeeze setup in combination with market cipher to kind of time the entry a lot better. I think John Carter uses DMI to do that, but you can see market cipher is more effective in terms of, like with DMIs, I think somebody like JC would have to kind of, work through all this pullback. With market cipher, you would kind of know the wave is coming down. You would either get in here or here. Anyhow, so no system is better, but it's just kind of a combination of those give you higher confidence on the setup. I started looking at the ATR and ADX and on the bar itself. It's kind of good to see.
Yeah, I don't know if you tried putting 10x. I know you use Heikin-Ashi candles, but if you put 10x candles, does it make sense to use? You can kind of forget about those DMI and ADX because all those 10x candles are built based off the ADX and DMI stuff. So we can kind of
so that's true. So I actually have DMI here. It's a little bit of a modified version of it. So
okay.
I'm using it together. Now this is Bitcoin short. Obviously, short-term time frames looking really good. It's all bullish until we hit the resistance, right? Daily resistance, I think, will be up here, right here, 35,400.
Yeah.
So you may wake up to it'll pull back down to here. If obviously it breaks 35, then it's really good. We could go all the way up to this previous high.
Yeah, those yellow X's, does it mean anything?
Yellow X's, this is manipulation. So I expect another yellow X around here. So we'll decide. But if you get like 2, 3, it's really 3 yellow X's back to back.
Yeah.
That's after the third, you can assume there's some sort of exhaustion and actually go long and use 3 X's as an indicator for a reversal trade.
Got it.
So I want to show you guys. So what we did this week, I in my large account on Netflix, I'm just going to show you guys. Like I actually entered in like a 10, 15%. Really, I increased over time and then 15% position on Netflix. And I'll show what I did. On this one, we made 92. In my small account, I made like another 23K or something like that. So overall, it was like 100K week for me in profits. And I'll show you how we did it. So you guys can see my NCNA lost 40K. This is my long-term position. So unfortunately, this is one of the hurting positions for me. it lost 50%, but this is for a 2022 trade. So I'm not touching this. I just added if it keeps going down. It's a cancel break. I think it's going to do very well. This is my long-term position, but overall, my large account is doing very well. My small account also has an NCNA, so it's still struggling. But overall, in terms of short-term trades, we're doing well. Let me show you. So what I did, Tati asked me to share a checklist. I put together I'm working on a training module that kind of outlines in detail the trading system, what I call the momentum trading system with market cipher and squeeze. So how to use both. I'll probably do a training module, but I kind of put some things together, like a tool package, kind of like 3-step program. How you do the scans, kind of what you do in step 1. You look at higher time frames weekly and daily to kind of really confirm the direction. So that's what we did with Netflix. And then you look at daily squeeze with market cipher, and then kind of look at green dot buy signals, momentum waves, VWAP, RSI, and then you kind of basically, while you confirm that multi-time frame squeeze exists, you have a trend on your direction, and then you look at you look at 4 hour, and I looked at 4 hour to kind of really enter into a trade. So I put this checklist for us. I'll make it a little bigger, but this probably summarizes it all. We like right around here. We could have entered earlier, but by the time I recognized this trade, it was up here, and then it kind of all conditions met, right? Daily and weekly supporting a bullish direction. I still think there's more, more move in Netflix possible, and then kind of follow squeeze histogram direction in combination with market cipher buy signals, the trigger waves right here, the VWAP over 0 line, and the money flow going into green, right? So I do think, we're going to have a little bit more run. I took all the profits in Netflix except like 30 contracts I left. So we'll see if it'll go hit my target of 540. I think it can even go higher than that. But it's getting to, so one of my exit rules is in my checklist. I shared with some of you this. It's really when you hit the 3 ATR levels on your your trade setup chart and the Fibonacci levels, you kind of watch for those, and then it's probably wise to take most of your profits out at that point. Even if it's not done with the move, it will pull back. If you see the setup still valid, you can get back in if you wanted to in a smaller size. Just make sure you kind of take profits and actually take the money from the market is giving you, right, and don't give it back. So I'm putting together this package. We'll do more detailed training. And while I was doing that, I revisited Mark Douglas rules, right? One of the things that you should declare yourself, and every time I read these, Karthik, it just reminds me like how you need to take emotions out of trading, right? Because there is the negative side of fear of losing, but there's also a positive side of, right, when you have a few winning trades, you think all of them will work the same way, and that's also the state that Mark Douglas talks about. So go back to this 7 rules of Mark Douglas, right?
No, that's perfect. I have a couple of things like that as well. Like, anything can happen. Have a probabilistic mindset. Every moment is unique. I know I saw somewhere that you had the same thing, and the random distribution between wins and losses for any set of variables that define an edge, right? How do you define an edge is those things, and you don't need to know what is going to happen next in order to make money. I think that's where the last point of my list that I have in front of me that I kind of read every day before I kind of get into trade.
So in this training module, I put all those quotes in every slide, so it actually inspires me. Like if there's a setup relevant one, but this declaration is the best, right? Like I look at I definitely do number 1, I definitely do number 2, number 3, number 4. I definitely do. Number 5, I need to do a better job. Like I don't. I think JC does this well, where he pays himself like 2%, of his account every week. I need to start doing that. I've done some in the past, but I haven't been doing regularly. So that's you want to pay yourself. Continually monitor susceptibility for making errors. Like this is definitely a case for me in the market. MasterCard. I made good profits and I gave half of it back because of the FOMO in. So these are great rules. Anyhow, so I wanted to just remind everyone, please take a look at these, kind of apply it to yourself, what you think. These are great rules, and Mark Douglas is obviously the best in really connecting state of mind versus trading. Anyhow, so let me just go back to just quickly Netflix chart one more time. So just with that context in mind, if you look at Netflix chart, right? So this is the daily chart. So the momentum wave for market cipher is still really bullish, right? We haven't completed this wave. So somewhere around here, there will be exhaustion, somewhere around here. So that's why I have a 540. I expect this thing to turn, and we'll have a red dot here for a small pullback, perhaps pulling back down. But it has still a very bullish setup on weekly. Look at the squeeze histogram turning here, and we have a weekly buy signal here, right? On the weekly chart, Netflix is just starting, Karthik. Like, we are going to 600s on Netflix if you just look at the weekly. So I will monitor this. We may have another entry point on Netflix at some point, just given how bullish the weekly chart signal is here. It's just starting. We want to find trade setups like this, where the weekly has given a buy signal, where you have a whole week or two to go, maybe even longer. Like that the higher time frame is indicating bullish scenario, And then you kind of look at the lower time frames where you see like, they're all in the buy setup for Netflix. This is just all like amazing. Like the histograms are all similar and all time frames. You don't find these setups that often. Most of the time, the stocks will have, look at Amazon. Like Amazon is the opposite. Like not opposite, but Amazon is not a perfect setup, right? Like look at this. So on the weekly, you have the bullish setup, green money flow, but daily is indicating pullback. So Netflix, on the other hand, has a very bullish multi-time frame move going on. So we caught the explosive move, the beginnings of it, and I think there's more room to go. So, so if you look at, I'm going to go back to Netflix. So if you look at on 4 hour, like ADX is nice, right? Above 25. So this is still explosive move, but the wave market cipher is indicating there's exhaustion here. We're going to have a turn and a slight pullback at some point. So I think we have 1 or 2 days of kind of hopefully getting to like probably 540 and then pulling back down on 4 hour and daily, but still weekly shows, more move to the upside. Oh, NQ 1 hour sell alert. I have these alerts set up. Anyhow, so that's any reactions to that, Karthik, my friend?
No, I think I'm going to cover some of the major market events to watch for next week. EO, I think Netflix, if it pulls back, like you said, could be a good entry for going into July, I think. So we can probably look for additional trade setups going into next week. I would love that, actually. So.
Excellent. Why don't we go to you for the market, your playbook for this week? What do you think about the markets?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. Tati has joined, I think. Welcome, Tati. So what I'm going to do right now is to just quickly give an overview of my weekly game plan for the upcoming week, to understand some of the stuff that's going on for the week, and I'm going to walk through the directional bias on some of the indices that I'm going to be looking at. I think last week I went in pretty much detailed how I look at the directional bias for the markets in terms of kind of various checklists that I've noted during last week's the YouTube live. So you may want to go back and look at and rewatch that to understand in detail in terms of how do you assess the directional bias for the week, for the month, for a swing and for intraday and swing trading purposes. Then I'm going to cover some sector sentiment and also going to cover some the ETFs that's on my watch list. We can just do a quick sample of some of the things we may have to kind of pick and choose from a relative outperformance standpoint. So we'll probably look at that at last, take a quick glance at that as well. So with that said, let's just scroll through the major market events for the week. As you all know, this week is the end of the month and the end of the quarter. So for me, this week is going to be a caution day. I would like to hear EO's take on what the money calendar is showing. But end of the month, end of the quarter, at least the last day of the month is going to be a caution day for me. So I'll be kind of very conservative in my intraday entries. Also look for potential opportunities going into July for any long trades in some of the indexes that I'm going to be looking at, which I'm going to get to that shortly. So expect some selling going into the end of the month. And I think the last 3 days of the month is also going to be historically can be potential selling that can come into the marketplace. So that's one thing on my mind. And then the next one is look at the jobless claims on Thursday. I think and there's some ISM manufacturing PMI at 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. I think the biggest one is going to be the non-farm payrolls on Friday. Could be the important market event to everybody should watch. going into, I guess, coming into Friday. So market can kind of move based on non-farm payrolls. And there are a couple of members speaking on Monday. The FOMC members, I've not listed them here, but you can always go back to Forex Factory and kind of scan the list to make sure there are no big FOMC chuckleheads speaking that can affect your trades going into next week. And another one to watch is the oil market. There's on Thursday, there's the OPEC meetings the whole day on Thursday. Watch for any kind of setups that's in oil and related sectors like like natural gas or whatever in relation to the oil markets. So those are some of the major market events I'm watching myself. So keep a close watch on those things, guys. And the next one, I want to cover some directional bias for the markets. So if you look at NQ, let me just scroll to the charts here. Okay, look at NQ. NQ is I'm bullish on NQ. Not right here, but if it pulls back to, say, to these levels here, this is my 21 EMA propulsion dot and the 34 EMA wave here. So a couple of things I look at, right? As I think I mentioned it last week, the big thing is for me, you see all the green candles here. So these are daily candles which are green, which indicates bullish. It's above the wave, above the stacked EMAs are all positive. So it looks green, bullish. And then look at this, the trend analysis where I do, where it's double green. So that's also is indicating bullish trend for NQ. With that said, you don't want to enter trades long at these high, where the market is at the highs. Look for potential kind of sell-offs that I'm expecting for the end of the month and the end of the quarter to kind of see if there's any pullbacks to these zones that you could kind of figure out if there is any kind of entries that it gives us opportunities to get into some entries from an NQ standpoint. So that's the NQ. The one other thing you should watch on NQ is, if I can look at this, you look at this inside day here on Friday, if I can draw this. So what's basically an inside day is it's trading in between this Thursday's candle. So this is inside day for me. What it means is that there's price equilibrium. There's no one side that has taken control over NQ, meaning the buyers have not taken control, nor the sellers have taken control on Friday. So watch for the break of the inside day. Some of the levels I'm watching is the NQ above these levels, 14,395. I would get long, and below this low, which is 14,313, look for some short opportunities. So that's the inside day. So if it breaks to the downside, sellers have taken control. If it breaks to the upside, buyers have taken control. So as easy as that. So that's the biggest thing that I'm watching on the NQ. It's an inside day price equilibrium. The one other thing that I look at, if I can see if I can grab this chart here. Okay, here. Some of the levels I'm watching, give me 1 second, I'm gonna pull this down. See, some of the things that I am watching at is, see, NQ trades in 100 handle blocks. What I mean by that is, if you take at 14,300 to 14,400, so it trades in the 100 point blocks. With that said, what I'm trying to figure out is these are some of the levels that I watch personally for both my intraday purposes. If it's on Friday, this is the Friday's candle. On Friday, it traded below 333. So for me, that leads the price can go down to 312. If it closes below 312, it can head down to 300, and similarly, if it trades below the 14,300, it can go down. So watch these, the roundies, I call it, like 14,300 is a round level, and 350. These are psychological levels that I'm watching. You may consider these levels to get retested, especially like on Friday, it tested the 12 area, but the 12 area held pretty well. So I'm thinking it'll come back and test this if it breaks the 333 zone. So these are some of the levels that I'm watching for from an NQ standpoint. And then I'll quickly touch on, I hope that makes sense from numbers and levels that I'm watching at. There's a few, I'm going to share this workflow link with you guys, so you guys have all the numbers that's listed here. I'm going to share a few other numbers for NQ, and then so I'm kind of focused on NQ for next week to get potentially long into some pullback into the end of the month. And another index I'm watching is the ES. ES, again, for me, again, it's double green, which meets all my criteria for getting long. If my screen can pull up here. Okay, so green grab candles, a double green here, nice squeeze setting up actually on the daily too. So any pullback into these zones here, please watch that, and then you can kind of react accordingly if it kind of comes into our buy zone. So ES, I'm bullish, and NQ, I'm bullish. So to make that make life easier, what we could do is to go back. What I'll do is to check on the relative outperformance in NQ. Look at some of the sectors that is bullish, right? You can look at QQQ, for example, and look at all the relative outperformance in that. Look at XLK, XLC, and some cloud-related ETFs as well. So what I'll do is I'll quickly walk through, say, QQQ and relative outperformance in that sector. We can see kind of what stocks we could focus on. So the way I do the relative outperformance scan is I have a flexible grid that I've saved for my QQQ that I'm going to just open up. I can get that running here. Okay, right there. So hopefully you guys can see it here on your screens. So some of the things that I'm watching that now, again, this is how I do my relative outperformance. So I look for double green, right? Look at Microsoft, double green, Amazon, double green, Facebook, Google, see all NVIDIA, Google, and PayPal. So once I identify kind of, what are the double green stocks that I'm watching for relative outperformance in the QQQ, then you can focus on, is this in my buy zone, right? If it pulls back into the buy zone, you would want to get long. Again, same thing. Like Amazon, for example, is a good stock to kind of watch here, as E.O. mentioned, right? How do you trade Amazon right now? It's on the daily, it's pulling back perfectly for me, right? It's pulling back to the 21 EMA, and this is kind of my potential buy zones that I look at. So I may look at Amazon to the long side, actually, guys. We may have some opportunity there coming into next week, since it's double green stock coming here, so that potentially long. Similarly, you could look at.
I think both Raul and I talked about perhaps we have a day or two pullback, and if we get a pullback, I'd like to sell some puts and
Perfect. So that
and
works.
long position as well. Like this week, we may look at Amazon long, definitely.
Yeah. No, perfect. That's awesome. So similarly, some of the stocks, this is how I do my scans. Then I go back, like let's pick Amazon, right? For example, since we talked about that. Once I pick the double green stocks here, then I go back to my charts, pick Amazon, and see kind of in detail in terms of what it's doing here. Where's my VWAP lines, 34 EMA, and also the V-score, where there's volume support for the V-score. This is my V-score kind of indicator that I look at, where it will tell me the weighted volume weighted average price and the standard deviation associated with it. Is it kind of at a support level where it can help me making my decisions to get long as well? So that's one of the other couple of things that I look at. So the way I do the scan is exactly I walk you guys through with it. So once I do that on a weekly basis, and I update my weekly game plan. I'm going into each of these sectors, right? Like, what are the relative outperformers? I look at the index first, and then look at the ETFs, and then look at the relative outperformers in those ETFs. So that's how I scan the market, look at the index, ETFs, and stocks. So I think hopefully look at the NQ and the QQQ rated ETF and the stocks associated with it. Hopefully that helps folks to understand how to scan the relative outperformance in these markets. So with that said, the one last thing I want to cover before I let EO take over on his money calendar is the sector sentiment. Let's see if I can enlarge this a little bit.
I love this part. Let's see the sentiment for sectors.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at, this is interesting actually, Lana, as we are speaking about QQQ, which is the technology sector. Look at the technology, guys. It's coming to a zone. I mean, it's not cooked yet, but it still has a little bit more upside here. I'm not sure if you want to get long at these levels. So you may, if you look at historically, right, you want to get long at these levels here, right? So right here, right, get long here. Not you don't want to get long here, right? So wait, I don't know. This sector sentiment is indicating otherwise. But if you go back and look at the sectors which are, at the oversold region, right? Look at materials, right? There were some bounces on Thursday and Friday in these sectors. So this is oversold. This is a good spot to buy in terms of the sentiment. And look at XLF, right? With the earnings coming up soon, next month, you may want to think of getting long on some of the XLF sector. Even though if you look at XLF, it's not double green. Let me see. Yeah, XLF is not double green. You may want to consider looking at some of these potential sector sentiment to understand where you want to be on the right side of the market. I mean, everybody is getting long XLK right now, right? Sorry, this is messed up here. Everybody is long XLK, getting long XLK now. Do you want to get long when everybody is long, or you just wait for the pullback to get to this oversold area to get long? So think about that, guys. And also one other sector I just want to point out is the XLI, which is interesting. Again, look at these levels. It's oversold, may have potential opportunity to get long here in the XLI. I mean, look at the previous levels here. You want to trade you want to trade, but you want to trade against some of the sectors that people are already kind of long. So the big guys are already long. They may kind of take some profits here, but this is one thing you guys should probably want to think about before getting long XLK, in my opinion. I know I'm conflicting myself, but you could kind of watch for.
This is really good, Karthik. I was looking at while you were doing that, I was just running scans on market cipher, sell signals, and blood diamond, and there are some technology stocks in there.
Interesting. Yeah, right. It gives a good clue for for getting. I've observed it, but I'm in terms of kind of taking those trades. But I think this is kind of one thing that I've put in my trading arsenal to kind of watch this every week and see how I can kind of manage and get into trades.
Yeah, I mean, the charts look bullish, but it could be that we'll have, a couple of days of major pullback. It's possible. So
yeah. So with that said, I think those are the high-level topics that I wanted to cover. Hope that helps you guys. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to address. Back to E.O., my friend.
All right. Let's see. Guys, post in the chat if you want us to look at some stocks that you're interested in. Feel free to post it. Let me, I just did a red.squeeze scan. Let me just post that and save it as well. And then, okay, let's go to money calendar. Let me enable it. Oh, yeah, perfect. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Maybe I can make it bigger. So, as you can see, we have Netflix and Google on the money calendar. Bullish. I think so. This is probably continue to be on the list. Netflix will be on the list probably until mid-July. So it's basically last 10 years. If you enter the trade on Netflix June 28th and exit on July 15th, you would make money. You can average $12. So a 12-point move, So I guess I'm not surprised seeing Netflix there. By the way, I posted this. We can actually see it here on the website under money calendar. So Google, Netflix, SPGI.
I like Google 100%. So that's one thing on my watch list too. If it pulls back, it could be a good opportunity there too.
Yeah, I think it'll pull back because I see it also when I run market cipher scans. On the this is the buy scan. It's on this website, but then on the sell scan, for some reason, Google shows up, which only means that because I looked at the chart, guys. So I was looking at. It's probably more Google than anything else. It's just like it did here. I think we're like talking about a sideways to down, slightly down consolidation. It could be just this week. Otherwise, the chart is really bullish if you look at weekly. Let me see the daily. Yeah, I mean, even daily is really bullish. So if it pulls back, it'll pull back here as support here, right here. So I think the scan is picking up this red dot here as a potential pullback, but VWAP is turning as well. So we will, we may have a pullback on Google, but look at this. Its money flow is all green, right? It's a fat green.
Is there a momentum divergence on? I can't see this on the screen. Is there a momentum divergence on that trigger wave?
Not anything major. Okay. It's still big waves and green fat. Like we need to see this green fat money flow to come down before we consider anything. I mean, this is still very bullish. Look at the DMIs as well. I mean, this is daily. Look weekly. Look at daily. I mean, let me see the 4 hour.
Yeah, crazy move this year on Google.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I would not short this, but we may have a pullback. Let's go back to money calendar.
Anything in XLI or XLB?
I'm looking at QQQ. Perfect.
Yeah.
If you enter the QQQ buy tomorrow and exited July 22nd, so I looked at QQQ.
Can you run that scan now for June 30th? Like the money calendars for June.
Oh 30th. Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm just asking. So
let me see. We can. So we can go back. So you want to do the Wednesday?
Yeah, the end of the month.
Yeah.
Still those stocks exist. Okay, perfect. 100%.
Booking.com. It's a 90%. But Goldman Sachs is coming.
Yeah, financials. That's 100%. Great.
What does your financials look like for the industry sector trade?
It's oversold. So the sector sentiment is oversold. So it's in the buy zone, actually, the financials.
Oh, you know what? Like, so let me post this as well. So this is June 30th. I like your idea of kind of looking at around the.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you could post it, I'll take a look at some of these as well.
Yeah, this is a good idea. So look at Cat. Cat is there too. I think John was asking.
Yeah.
So let me post that. So that's June 28th. We'll do the June 30th. I'm so curious. I want to look at booking.
Yeah, let's do that. That are 100%. That are 100% or 90%. I can't remember.
Let me see. Booking was 90%, but the stat looked really good. Look at this. I mean, last year obviously we know what happened, right? I think they had some. Obviously, I don't like on money calendar. I don't like seeing a negative year, so it may not be a good trade to pick. But I just want to see from market cipher perspective. We had a buy signal on. That's just 4 hours. Sorry, let me see the weekly. Yeah, so weekly squeeze histogram coming down. So this may not be the best, but yeah, it's not the best setup. But it isn't the median ATR. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with this. It's once this establishes support down here, then we can look at it if it turns. But right now, I wouldn't mess with it when the weekly is showing kind of, a downturn there. All right, well, let's look at 100% one. It was GS, right? That's what I want to look at, GS. I like doing things when the sector sentiment is oversold as well. See, like this would be a good, like a pullback by the dip kind of situation. Like weekly is pulling back. We want this VWAP to turn. I wouldn't get in before this turns, but it could turn, potentially this week at the end of this week. But right now, it is showing a pullback on weekly.
Yeah, the earnings is on July 13th. I mean, if you need to play, we could play, running for a run into earnings. If there's some pullback this week, is what I'm thinking. I mean, overall, let me just share my quick view on the Goldman Sachs. I mean, it's above 50-day moving average, right? Which is here. The blue line here is the moving average for 50-day. And then you see the ready aim fire here. That has fired long as well. So those are two kind of positive signals I'm looking at. But other than that, the stacked EMAs is kind of neutral. The ADX is, I guess it's showing me bearish trend, but I think we could kind of play for a run into earnings 2 weeks. I mean, I did generally like to play like 6 weeks before the earnings, but I think we could kind of do this 2 weeks run into earnings to catch the implied volatility moves if there's anything. So, but staying about.
It's mixed. Like I'm looking at Market Cipher. It is also, although the daily just had a green dot, but it's not a trigger wave. So it'll probably, we would have to wait for it to kind of get closer to the earnings. Right now it's mixed, shorter time frame versus longer, but it is, there's a potential. We can see here, like there's probably going to be resistance here. It'll come down and then come back up and go up. We need to wait for that. Like I would not take the signal. I think I showed you guys the setups I take. I want to see this complete and then perhaps another wave, and then we take the trigger wave, and that may be closer to earnings. But then we want to see squeezes, right? Like that's the trading setup I talked in the beginning of the session. Silver is asking for how to set up Cipher scans on TV, trading view. I haven't been able to figure out how to run scans on TradingView. I wrote some code in Thinkorswim. I do scans and then I port it over to TV to just double check if I'm catching it. That's how I'm doing right now. If someone finds anything that scans in TradingView, we can discuss, but I haven't seen anything. In terms of, I think we should, Karthik, we should look at CAT with the infrastructure deal coming in, and I think CAT is in an oversold situation. What was the sentiment for? We talked about this last week. I can't remember, for industrials, or I don't know what CAT is considered.
Yeah, CAT is. Let me share this. Oops. CAT is bullish, right? So if you look at industrials, it's in the oversold buy zone for me from a sentiment standpoint. I know we covered CAT last week as well. So if you look at CAT right now, I mean, there's better. With all cards on the table, I'm long. I'm still holding my CAT calls that I kind of got into it a week back, or more than 2 weeks, I think, right here, somewhere here. Unfortunately, I'm stuck in it. So I have some time on my call, so I'm holding on to it. But if you are not in the trade, I would look at better setups than CAT. CAT is looking ugly for potential rollover. I mean, it kind of rolled over here. It didn't go to the 21 I was expecting, but I think it's looking like may come back and retest this zone around 205 area. And then we can look for a potential W pattern to kind of form and then go. With that said, I think the sentiment on XLI is positive, meaning kind of get long at these areas, but you can consider to kind of hold on. I'm going to hold on to it to at least get back to my break-even levels and try to get
over. Karthik, it doesn't look good for the near term. I'll show you on Market Cipher. you see like on the weekly chart, we still have to complete a wave down here, and like the money flow is coming down here. VWAP needs to still turn, and ADX is pretty high. So this could have, potential explosive move to the downside. I hope it's not that. But the one good thing is it's going from an exhaustion to a squeeze, at least a low compression squeeze. So that may hold it up here, consolidate. But I would be careful with this. This is not a good setup. Daily looks much better. The issue with daily is we had a buy signal on 21st, and it's now coming up to a resistance level. This week, it'll hit at a resistance. So you may have an opportunity of a couple of dollars up, move up. You have to decide at that point, do you want to, be considered that, is it going to turn back down from here? It'll just do a fake out here and then come back down. That's a possibility. Because of this, how I look at markets, right? Like a lot of green coming in. So perhaps this move will continue and change the weekly. It's possible because all the short time frame charts are all bullish, right? All green. We have a green side in daily. Maybe daily will push the weekly to positive as well. So there's a possibility. I just don't like, it's not the perfect setup like the Netflix. FCX, very quick, John asked.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing for me on FCX.
Yeah, it's same chart.
It looks more or less the same. I wouldn't touch it. I mean, copper. I'm looking at copper here. I mean, all these reflation trades have taken a big beating. It looks like copper has taken a beating too. I mean, I do have some buy signals here from an oversold standpoint, but if you want to play that trade, would do it with some kind of a call spread or something to that effect before going straight with calls. With considering where the skew is, right? The skew. I should cover this in my trading plan every week. I mean, skew is at an all-time high. Like, look at this stuff, like 170. I mean, you go back and look at last 10 years, it never traded at these levels. So I would be cautious in terms of selling premiums at the closer dated expiries. I would rather you guys want to go back and look at selling premiums way out of the money, right? Look at the premiums like way out of the money, right? So look at like 7 delta, or see those implied volatility on these out of the money puts here. So it's crazy. I mean, so you don't want to kind of play around with the shorter dated expiries. I mean, I do have some positions in July, which are, I think the longer dated one that I've sold is the 17 September ones that I've sold in SPY, which I have some positions on. So you may want to think about selling shorter, not to, work on the shorter term expiries. Go back and look at the longer one, anywhere between, say, 80 to 115 days or so, and try to sell some premiums out of the money so you get better bang for your buck. So that's kind of the way you want to play this market right now. Sorry, I went off in tangent on FCX.
So I put the scan results I ran for market cipher, sell signals. Don't take these as it's not the true sell signals that I kind of I look at multiple things, right? These scans are looking at red dot and green dot. So just to narrow down the population of stuff for me to look at. And you know, when you look at sometimes like there's PJ's wholesale club from here. I'm just curious. So this is a weekly sell signal. Is that true? I want it quicker. Is it just PJ? Yeah. Yeah, for example, like, I mean, it brought a red diamond, but it's not a true blood diamond result, so you have to double check. So this would not be a good blood diamond trade. This is bullish, actually. In fact, you know, this may be a bullish. So weekly squeeze, directionally positive histogram. We are at the weekly median ATR, perhaps a slight pullback. Let me see the daily. Oh my God, this could be this could be a trade, guys. Daily is at the median. It's going into a medium squeeze. ADX is low though. There's a green dot. Yeah, this is a trigger buy signal on daily. Let me see. What did it do last time here when it was a buy signal? It went from 45 to 40, so it was a $2 move here. Stock RSI is buy, VWAP is buy. We're on, you know, green money flow. Let me see, 4 hour. 4 hours a buy. Oh my, it's so funny. This is a buy. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect setup, but it is close to perfect. I wish the ADX was for 4 hour is like 25. This would be so let's see, last time 46, 48. So there's a $2 move. I think this thing will go back to this all-time high. So perhaps, yeah. This is a setup. It's not the most exciting setup. I don't know what the option, but it is pretty close to the setup we have, having, you know, multi time frame squeezes and everything is directionally bullish. So like on pullbacks like this. So if you catch this thing when it pulls back, so you place an order right here, 44, 53, and you sell it at 48. So you can make it, you know, $4 move. So anyhow, so I was just curious. I'm just sharing that it's a similar setup. It's just not the most exciting stock for explosive move. It's just other than the weekly ADX, the other ones are small. But so there's some move here, Karthik, potential move. Okay, what else do we want to do? I think we covered everything, right?
Yeah, I think we did. Let's just check on the time. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions or charts they want us to look at, and we are happy to kind of go through them if you guys need it. But
I'm just gonna look at QQQ very quick because
yeah.
I meant to do that. I forgot. The chart looks really bullish. Yeah, weekly chart looks really bullish. Stock RSI, VWAP positive, green money flow. It's following the 21. EMA for weekly. Daily is very bullish as well, although it's kind of fizzling out. 4 hour. 4 hour indicates a slight pullback. So 4 hour, we have a, you know, red dot here. VWAP is crossing below 0. So we may have a, you know, small pullback on QQQ. within the next day or two. So I wouldn't short it, but yeah, it is 4 hour indicates a pullback. All right, Karthik, I think that's it.
Yeah, well done. So I guess Kaush has one more question there if you want to address that.
Oh yeah, let's do it. How does IACA look? It seems very speculative. Gosh. Let me see. All right, so you guys know my standard approach. Look at the larger time frame. Okay, obviously this is a spec, so we don't have much to go with in terms of data, but we do have a, so this is in the support zone, which is really good. Make it daily. Daily has a trigger way buy. Kosh, you're gonna be in good place. VWAP is crossing zero line. That's good. Money flow is green. It's crossing zero line to green. That's good. Only thing going against you is squeeze histogram is going to the negative. So, and ADX is less than 25 on daily. 4 hour, let me see. Oh, ADX 4 hours above 25. So you're good. And 4 hour, you have a buy. It's not a trigger wave, but it's the second green dot, so it's a buy, and histogram is positive. Yeah, I mean, 4 hour indicates you probably have a potential move. Although these are not exciting, Kosh. You may have a 50-cent move. But it's possible. Yeah, it's looking good for 4 hour and daily. You may have consolidation up here. Kosh says speculative.
No, that's true. So I mean, I don't have any comments on that. So I think your analysis makes sense to me. I mean, I do have some Ready Aim Fire Pro buy triggers, but as you said, as I guess Kaush knows that it's speculative. So he knows more he knows more about SPACs than me personally. So he's good.
All right, so we'll finish with a Mark Douglas quote. Let me see which one. All right, we'll go with this one. You can't see that one. Let me remove this. All right. 95% of trading errors you're likely to make will stem from your attitudes about being wrong, losing money, missing out, and leaving money on the table. What do you think about that, Karthik? So true, man. So
Mark has said it. So no, it's like it's like Bible for me. So
yeah.
No, I think as I mentioned during my initial kind of conversation, just watch for the end of the month, end of the quarter selling, and stick to your trading plan and just manage your trades accordingly. So stick to your process. The outcome's going to kind of fall out of your trading discipline.
All right. Karthik, always pleasure doing these sessions with you. Thanks for your amazing insights. I always, going into the week, it just sets my mind to the right place when I hear your kind of perspectives on the market.
Likewise, my friend. I'm happy to have a bunch of people join us today. So hopefully those guys enjoyed the session and have a game plan for the upcoming week. And if you guys have any feedback, I guess they can provide the feedback in the comment section on YouTube, right? And and if you have any specific topics that you want us to address in the future sessions, like intraday trading on NQ or anything like that, just please kind of make comments. We can kind of take those into consideration during the next weekly sessions as well.
I'd like to get Raul to join us as a guest speaker.
Yeah, we should. We should invite him.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great week. Thank you so much. Let the trade come to you. Let's have a great week.
Thank you all. Take care. Bye.